I'll forward it on.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Speaking of things, all right. So I saw on the subreddit that they saw, I guess, that old carton of eggs that we used to batter the chicken, and they were like exposed, like they ate the eggs.
Oh yeah.
What did we do with those eggs? Does anyone remember?
We left them behind, or we threw them in the fire, or something like that.
We left them behind, and
Well, we used some of them to batter the chicken. And
that's what the eggs were for. We used. I don't even know. Kyle prepared that part, but yeah, everyone knows we used flour and eggs. I guess was there milk involved? I don't know what else. No, just flour and eggs to cook the chicken, because we didn't know how to safely cook chicken any other way. That's where the eggs are from.
As much as we would have loved those extra eggs, they were uncooked. They were left there.
And we got the eggs on a Thursday, and we left Friday morning. There really wasn't that much incentive to cheat with the eggs anyway.
No.
Yeah, I didn't want those.
It was
eggs.
more of a memoriam, if you will, to Henrietta and what she could have had she lived a full life. Right
that
there.
poor chicken.
That poor fucking chicken. Did you see the thing? What was it? Somebody linked something about.
I remember my last memory of Henrietta.
I would have done that
in the river.
Disgusting motherfucker.
In the river as I shit her out.
It was some history channel. There was some history video. They were talking about a decapitation and how they were hitting and breaking the back of this woman or whatever. And like, this sounds familiar. I'm like, God damn it. Fucking Henrietta. Chopped her back off to get her head
beat her
off.
like a rented mule.
I would have just grabbed her by the neck and shook her.
That's
chicken?
all you need to do.
Everyone knows how to kill them humanely, except the guy in charge of doing it.
God, and fast forward, what happened was Kyle was holding the head, and I was trying to chop the neck, but I was also very cautious not to hit Kyle's hand. And Kyle thinks I hit the top of the chicken's shoulders. I'm not so sure. He's so sure, but I'm not so sure about that.
Stack of Bibles. I watched the blade come down. Its neck's only this long, and I had like a little of it in my.
Your mic is muted, but he had a little of it in his hand, and then next to his hand he put a branch, like a stick, so that it wouldn't slide into him or something. And that left the target zone for me very small, and he thinks I hit the top of its neck.
Not the top of the neck.
The top of the back, I guess.
You hit her like right in the back, like where the shoulders would be, like a cross, and I just saw like it split open, and I could see spine.
Now I've been asked this question before. You had hold of her head, right? So when the first impact missed and didn't knock her out, was she struggling and crying?
Oh yeah. She was totally trying to like get away from us and try. She would if we'd stopped at one whack, she'd have been mutilated, but she'd have survived.
Just survived.
And
she
had
about 3 seconds of life left, where she knew she had been played as your pretend friend to eat the bugs and then be
She
dead.
wasn't a pretend friend.
By the second whack, I think the head was pretty much separated. There was some feathers and skin to handle at the end, but by the second whack, in my opinion, that head was effectively.
I think Henrietta should just counter stars that you didn't build shelters and use a dull ass machete to do it.
Pretty much how that happened.
You've been cutting back on chicken, haven't you? Or is that? I thought someone mentioned that maybe it was a joke.
I don't think
like
Woody
a week
cut back
ago.
on
What are you talking to right now?
To you, Chiz.
Oh, I haven't had any
bird
chicken.
mentality.
Yeah, fuck
I've
birds.
had no fucking chicken since that happened.
Really?
Oh,
interesting.
I eat chicken all the time.
I eat chicken all the time.
Henrietta would have tasted delicious with this right here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't typically picture an animal being slaughtered and they have an actual blackout phase before they die. But I picture that's what happened. The first hit went and she lived and she screamed and struggled. And then the second hit didn't take her head off. She just gave up and blacked out. And then the third one, and definitely the fourth one, there was separation from the body.
By the fourth one...
That's second only to flavor for me, is imagining with each bite different ways it could have died to get there. I hope this one was stuffed into a cage by a migrant worker.
You gotta,
really
well,
cruelly.
your only reason you're still alive is because people eat you. So
Henrietta was a diverse bird. Like, some of her floated and some of her sank.
Yeah, the dark and the light.
I didn't eat. I really didn't eat any of Henrietta. I ate some of the breading, but that meat was so stringy and tough that I didn't.
You guys boiled it. You cooked it by boiling first.
Time got away from me. It really did when it like that scalding process. Time really got away from us.
Not from me. Like I was like, you just scald it. You kind of dunk it, cool it, dunk it, and Kyle was like, nah, let it boil.
Leave it in there for a while.
Yeah. And that was not the correct course of action because it boiled her good. It seemingly it was like white meat. It looked cooked from like a couple minutes of boiling, which
I think
doesn't
she got
meat in that
overcooked in the oil, and that's where the stringy really went down.
Oh, my dad said it was this. My dad said that it was because the bird was dehydrated from spending a week without any water before I picked her up, and all of the and also it hadn't eaten, so all the fat and water had been taken out of the flesh of the bird.
That makes a lot of sense.
Why
That's-
do you feed the bird?
She had plenty of
Bugs
bugs
kill it.
and,
So
and grasshoppers.
y'all
and
brought a
bugs.
chicken to like do the survival trip with you,
Yeah.
no water, and then
Yeah.
his reward was getting eaten.
You know what's funny? Henrietta's the only
She
one that
had
died.
water.
She had
but
water.
Henrietta's
It was
the
water
only.
before I like brought her on the trip. She had spent a week like in the wilderness with no water, like in an old.
So Henrietta's the only one who didn't make it on the trip. The rest of us came back alive. However, she
sacrificed
was the
somebody
most successful member of the trip, really. She didn't need shelter because she had the feathers. She found food. She was there eating caterpillars and grasshoppers and little bugs and stuff all the time, just pecking it off the ground.
She did the fire without being asked.
She would flap her wings and like stoke the fire. She was
didn't
quite
watch
the
the-
bird.
So I didn't watch the videos. I don't think that part got caught on camera, the part we're talking about, but it was the coolest fucking moment of the whole thing. She backed up to it and just, for whatever reason, flapped her fucking wings and stoked the fire. It was amazing.
She couldn't fly, but she did float a little.
I mean, man, dude, it was a whole new world for her. She was out. She's like, I can do anything. I can do anything. She gave it a try. You know,
I could run away in the night. Now I trust them. Something.
Was she not on a leash?
Me.
No, she started in a
Protected
box
me.
and she escaped from the box somehow. It was just, this big.
A lot of butting her dumb head against the box.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
she
mean,
started
didn't
in a-
jump out. It was
We had a box
box.
with a I brought like a cat carrier, but we just opted not to use it. Instead, we had a box with a towel on the top, and that seemed to not work.
I'm glad we didn't use the cat carrier. We would have never known such lovely things like Henrietta. She'd have been cooped up in a coop.
I didn't want to carry that motherfucker. We were carrying enough.
Well,
Yeah.
you shouldn't have said bring it when
Should have brought more than one chicken. One a
You
night.
guys
we could have picked our favorite and kept that one alive.
No, I would not have let you
You
keep any
should have had
animals
chicken
alive.
poop
if I were
games. Like, see, y'all should put them against each other and see who survived.
They would not have fought. I mean, you would have had to like